Hello and welcome to Focus here on France 24. This Saturday will mark exactly 1 year since President Zine El Abidine Ben Ali of Tunisia boarded a plane for Saudi Arabia. He hasn't returned since, and in his absence, the country's held its first truly democratic election for decades, the first such poll of the Arab Spring as well. The winners were the Islamist party Ennahda, which supporters say strikes a balance between modernity and Islam, but to its critics, the party's success is a sign that religious politics could risk Tunisia's secular tradition. And in some areas, it seems a hardline stance is on the rise. One town in the north of Tunisia is now under the control of a group of Salafist Muslims who are imposing their restrictive views of religion and civil liberties on the local population, as France 24's reporter David Thompson found out.
To deliver their testimony, they preferred to leave town and seek shelter in the hills. In the village below, radical Islamists have supposedly begun enforcing their own laws in this isolated corner of Tunisia.
I'm really scared.
Today, the president of the Tunisian League of Human Rights has traveled here from Tunis because of an alleged attack on 2 youths by men wielding swords. All this after the youths were convicted of drinking alcohol by a religious court.
They want to kill anyone who drinks. Anyone who steals, who sells alcohol, or who goes out with people who drink. They apply Sharia law to all of them.
To verify these charges, the Human Rights League visited. Others have also claimed to be victims of this extra-legal vice squad.
They came to my house and threatened my son.
About 50.
Yeah, about 50. They had beards and swords.
Inside, the injured youth doesn't dare to go out. Some investigators saw evidence of blows to the head. Everything is recorded, as is the testimony of a youth who almost lost a finger due to a knife attack also blamed on the Salafis.
They said they'll enforce Sharia law on me, but I've done nothing wrong. I'm really frightened. They take people from their homes at night, they put them in prison, they beat them again, and afterwards they let them go.
They say that this abandoned government building has now been put to use as a Salafist prison.
It's the place of their torturers and interrogators.
This member of the Human Rights League is sure that people have been detained and beaten here. In order to get their side of the story, our team tried to meet the Salafis that are being accused. But outside, our team was attacked by a group of youths and had to flee the city. 3 days later, at the foot of the Salafi mosque in Sejnen, some of the accused agreed to talk. They rejected all accusations. According to them, the party of former strongman Ben Ali paid their accusers in order to discredit them.
These words and these rumors do not surprise me at all. These people may even have hit themselves just to say that the Salafists are behind it all.
These people are with the old regime. They want to preserve their old privileges. How? They want to drive away new investors. They do this by spreading rumors about Salafists and bearded men.
In this isolated city where unemployment is close to 60%, the Salafis are supported by local representatives of the ruling Islamist party Ennahda, as well as part of the population who welcomes any sort of order in an area totally neglected by police.
Well, for more on that story, I'm joined now by our correspondent in Tunis, Jacob Lippincott. Jacob, thank you very much for being with us. First of all, then, explain a little bit more about what Salafists believe as opposed to other Muslims and how widespread Salafism is in Tunisia.
Yes, simply put, Salafis are ultra-conservative Sunni Muslims. Now, all Muslims try and emulate the behavior of the Prophet Muhammad and his companions. Salafis take this one step further, and they view any social developments that came after the Prophet's death with some suspicion. Now, Salafis are easily recognized here by their medieval style of clothing and their long beards. Furthermore, they're known for advocating extremely extreme and reactionary social laws, especially concerning the rights of women and freedom of religion, things like this. In Tunisia, they're a small minority of the people. However, since the revolution, they've made it clear that they're very well organized, they're very vocal, and as you saw, they're willing to use violence to get their point across.
So does this Salafist control of this town that we saw in the report, Sejinan, does that show that the new government isn't therefore in control of the entire country?
Well, government indifference to these peripheral parts of Tunisia has been a problem since well before the revolution. The old dictatorship was openly indifferent to these places. Furthermore, immediately after the revolution, law and order broke down to some extent. And while that's completely changed in the cities where the police and the army are firmly in control, obviously in these smaller towns, there still is somewhat of a power vacuum.
And what about the ruling party, Ennahda? They are an Islamist party, so what's their policy towards the Salafists?
Well, that's a very good question. Simply put, Ennahda does not want to be too associated with these groups. However, they also do not want to alienate them. This is especially true of the national apparatus of the party, which is dominated by the moderate wing. In places like Tunis here, Ennahda got a plurality. They got more than twice the votes of the second-place party. And they did this by being all things to all people. Some even said they were double-faced. When they came to Tunis, they campaigned on an anti-corruption platform and made it clear that they were a democratic party first and Islamist party second. When they campaigned in these more rural areas, their message was very different and much more radical. Now, as you saw, the local representative, Ennahda, in this town supports these Salafis. This is probably both a purely ideological decision as well as a political decision. These people probably helped get him into office.
Now, moving back to the one-year anniversary of the fall of President Ben Ali, despite the successful elections in Tunisia, there have been recently a spate of self-immolations of people setting themselves on fire, copying the man who started it all, Mohamed Bouazizi. Talk to us a little bit more about the background to that, why people are still doing that. Are they not happy with the direction the country's going in?
Yes, the new government has made a strong rhetorical commitment to help these rural areas like the town you saw, these areas that were not helped by the old regime. However, they have limited resources and they have an uphill battle to develop these areas. And many people are running out of patience with the new government. However, there are celebrations planned today, and people in general still are excited about the new democracy here.
OK, Jacob Lippincott in Tunis, thank you very much indeed for joining us. And that's just about all we've got time for on this edition of Focus. Thanks for watching, and don't go away. More news coming up in a moment here on France 24.
The Fifth Republic turning into France, Inc. In the next Beyond Business, we look at how the French state is cashing in on its properties and even Sorbonne University. How far should governments go to make a buck?
Don't miss Beyond Business. Today, 11:45 a.m. Paris time on France 24.
This is Kim, about to feel one of his favorite sensations. At Shell, we are developing more efficient fuels that can help us to get the most from our energy resources. Let's use energy more efficiently. Let's go.